the Council, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Mayor of the Deputy Mayor of Nuneaton and Bedworth, Councillor Brian Hammersley.
Thank you all for attending this special occasion for the people of the borough that we recognise, who go about doing what they do silently, largely unbeknown to others. So, thank you for being here. Now, there is a standard thing that I have to do because there are lots of new faces in here who are not familiar with the building. So there is an evacuation procedure. A fire drill is not expected, so if the alarm sounds, please evacuate the building quickly and calmly. Please use the stairs, do not use the lifts. Once outside the building, please gather outside the Virgin Money Bank, formerly the Yorkshire Bank, on the opposite side of the road. Please exit by the door which you entered the room or by the fire exits which are clearly indicated by the standard green fire exit signs. If you need any assistance in evacuating the building, please make yourself known to a member of staff. Please also make sure your mobile phones are turned off or please to silent. Thank you. And the next thing, any apologies to receive? I have two apologies. One from, unfortunately, our Mayor is not very well tonight, so I am standing in for him, and so we send our best wishes for a speedy recovery. And also, Councillor Colin Cape. Are there any other apologies? Yes, Mr. Connaught?
Scheduled the fire cuts meeting tonight, so I may have to leave before the things have happened, but it's not a mark of anything to do with the people here, so apologies that I will have to leave and go to Bedworth for their meeting. Thank you.
You as well. Oh, sorry, Councillor Watkins, I didn't see you over there.
Shepherd.
And the next thing, item 3, any declarations of interest? I don't see any declarations. No. And on to item 4. Do we have any announcements? No announcements. So, now we come on to party time. Sorry. Old habits. We come on to the nominations for... Oh yes, I have missed one thing out, item number 5 on public participation, and I have been told we have no public participation. Unless anybody wants to shout at me. No. So, item number 6 then. Nomination of honorary alderwoman. So, who do we have? We have Councillor Sue Markham. And it's Sheila Hancock, sorry. Sheila Hancock's.
I've known Sheila more years than I'll actually admit to. And Sheila's been involved in politics for many years, starting with her father, Albert Walker, who was a Labour councillor, obviously well known to the borough. And when he became mayor in 85 to 86, Sheila became his consort. She has been mayoress twice for her husband Bill Hancock's when he served 2 terms as mayor in the Borough 2001 and 2017. She was a councillor for 10 years within the Borough and has been involved in 4 schools within the Borough, a member of Nicholas Chamberlain Trust, and has also been involved in various fundraising events over many years, which included the Mary Ann Evans Hospice. So I'm actually happy to nominate her for an honorary old woman. Thank you.
And do we have a seconder?
Thank
Do we have anybody else wishing to speak? No, in that case then we will take it to a vote. So, all those in favour? And that looks like it's unanimous. Thank you. So, would Mrs. Hancock's like to come up and sign, please? And receive your certificate. This is not the swimming certificate from school either.
You sign there, then the mayor will sign there, and I'll sign there.
Won't get this on the purse, will you?
First of all, can I say a very big thank you to all of those who have voted for me to receive this award. I am truly honoured. When I entered politics, I didn't enter it for any medals, awards or anything. It was to help the people of Nuneaton and Bedworth. And I enjoyed my time as a councillor, but I know there's far more other councillors deserving this than me. But thank you very much indeed. I feel truly honoured. Thank you.
And the second nomination of Honorary Alderman Bob Hicks. And do we have a proposer, please? Hello, Councillor Jeff Clark.
I extend my hearty congratulations to Mrs. Sheila Hancock's well-deserved recognition of the service that she did for our borough. Well deserved. Thank you for this opportunity to also recognise former Councillor Bob Hicks and former Mayor Bob Hicks and former Chairman of County Council Bob Hicks. That gives you a flavour of the man in 3 short, brief words, or 6 words. But Councillor Hicks, as many of you perhaps don't know, was a stranger to our borough when he came. He was an Athenian abroad, came from America, and was sponsored by, as an exchange student back in the day, 1974, did I see in my records? I think it was something like that. But he came, if anybody needs to know anything about the man, if you look on Athenian Abroad, Robert Hicks, it tells his story of how he got here and why he's here and why he stayed here in Nuneaton and served the residents of Nuneaton and Bedworth for the years that he did. He became a councillor, first of all, in 1979 for Chilvers Counton ward. He won the ward by 1,790 votes he had, so he won it substantially, and the Chilvers Counton ward. He served the borough and the residents of that ward for many years, right up until 2002 when the boundaries changed and he became the councillor for Arbury ward. Still serving the residents heartily across the borough for another number of years. He's 29 years in total he served this borough council and became mayor back in 1991-92. An honour which was truly deserved, and we thank him for his service to the residents of the borough. As I say, he then went on. That wasn't enough service. He went on, and whilst it's not pertinent to tonight, it's still relevant to his service and his recognition of serving the people. He went on to serve as a county councillor between 2005 and 2017 and became the chairman of the county council in that final year. So, as I say, we do thank him for all that service. His charity, when he was mayor, was the Mencap Chetwynd House, which he had a strong drive for and helped achieve the delivery of Chetwynd House for the need of the Mencap Society. He raised, over the period, some £30,000 during his mayoralty, which back in 1979 was a considerable amount of money, you must admit. That is a real achievement, and I congratulate him on achieving that. And I do thank the members giving me the opportunity tonight to propose him for this award of an honorary alderman of the Nuneaton and Bedworth Borough Council. And I formally move that, Mr Deputy Mayor.
Councillor Clark. And do we have a seconder? Councillor Green.
I'll take my opportunity to speak now. I've had the privilege of knowing the Hicks family for 50 years, and after hearing Councillor Clark's wonderful statement of his service, I can confirm Bob Hicks has been a wonderful community leader for the borough through his time in the council and his continuing charity work to this day. And it's my absolute honour to be able to second his nomination as Alderman of the borough. Thank you.
Are there any other speakers? Councillor Conacore.
Thank you very much. Say how wonderful Bob promoted George Eliot and her poetry and writings at the County Council. And we always, at every meeting when he was chairing the County Council, had a few lines from her. And I think it was really good to actually get that, what Nuneaton and Bedworth's good for, good at that literature actually promoted at the County Council. So I'd just like to say thank you for that.
Can we now take it to the vote? All those in favour? It looks like a majority. And that looks like a majority. Thank you, councillors. So, Mr Hicks, come on down.
If you could just sign there, and then the mayor will sign it, and I'll sign there. So, okay. Would you in that first box, please?
try to be brief, but I've seen a couple of faces around here tonight which warrant special attention. Apart from thanking Jeff for his proposal, I saw Don Jakes and Alan Farnell sitting together, and it reminded me of the year that I was mayor. You know, you can get carried away with the office every now and again. So at the very beginning of my year, I was approached by Kathleen Adams of the George Eliot Society. And she said, I wish you would do what you can to help promote the society. I thought about it, and before the end of May, I'd said to people, I think it would be a really good idea if every adult in the borough read a George Eliot novel in June. About halfway through June, Don came to me, because he and Alan now had a bookshop. And he said, which one are you reading? I said, me? He said, yeah, you actually challenged everyone else. What are you reading? So I asked who he would suggest. He suggested Scenes of Clerical Life, because it was in 3 nice, comfortable segments. And by chapter 2 of the first book, The Sad Fortunes of the Reverend Amos Yes. Anyway, I got to the second chapter, and there was a quotation in there which I immediately underlined, which said that every man who is not a monster, a mathematician, or a mad philosopher is the slave of some woman or other. And I have to say I was hooked from then on. So thank you very much, first of all, Don and Alan, for pushing me in that direction. It's become a case, as Keith mentioned, that I used to open county council meetings with a George Eliot quotation. So I'm going to finish with one here, which may be of more interest to the news public than to the politicians, but it comes from Felix Holt. An election is coming. Universal peace is declared, and the foxes have a sincere interest in prolonging the lives of the poultry. Thank you very much.
Fine words. Thank you. And our next nomination of Honorary Alderman Jeff Ashford. Do we have a proposer, please? Hello, Councillor Clark.
Pleasure to again rise and propose for Honorary Alderman former Councillor Jeff Ashford and former Mayor Jeff Ashford. Jeff served the borough and the ward of Stockingford between 1990 and 2010. He was the mayor in 2002 and 2003. His charity was the Mary Ann Evans Hospice, and they raised during that period, during his mayoral year, some £36,000. Again, a substantial amount of money for a very worthy cause. And I have to congratulate him on the efforts in achieving that. Jeff was my contemporary, shall we say, to some extent, insofar as I was his shadow portfolio holder when I first, well, not when I first got on the council, but when I joined the council, I became shadow environmental member for environmental services. And Jeff was quite kind to me, I think, in a way, insofar as he kept me fully informed of what was going on. If there was any issues, he'd make sure I knew about them so that the group knew about them. And he helped me achieve more as we went through. So I'm pleased to be able to support him for this award tonight and recognise him. And I hope that the members of the council support the Honorary Alderman, former Councillor Jeff Ashford. Thank you.
Seconder. Councillor Wilson.
Former councillor Jeff Ashford. Now, we never actually served together on the council, but I remember watching him in action when I would sit up in the gallery before I was elected. And the way that he would put himself across, of course, we're from different political camps, but he was always kind, professional and courteous, both in and outside the chamber, I have to say. And he took on the mantle of deputy leader of both the council and of the opposition 2008 to 2010. And I think he probably took on more than just the deputy leadership. He was probably leader in all but name in some respects, watching him present the shadow budgets and doing the very best that he could in his own trying circumstances. And having been in that position, I can fully appreciate the hard work and effort that takes. But he was always, from my perspective, watching him from the outside looking in at that time, a consummate professional who had Nuneaton and Bedworth at its heart. And I think that that is worthy of being recognised by this council for his services rendered to us and to the community, Mr Deputy Mayor.
And is there anyone else who would like to speak? I can't see anyone, so can we take it to the vote? So all those in favour? Again, that does look unanimous. So thank you very much. And can Mr Ashford please come and sign this blank cheque, please?
Hello. So if you can just sign that box there.
Yes, of course.
Well, thank you. I'd like to thank the council and especially the Civic Awards and Honours Committee for deeming what was an enjoyable time on the council, but deemed worthy now of this sort of award. I believe this sort of award really does hit the heart of the communities and really raise people's perception of what's done and what's not done by a lot of people that are unsung and unheard of. The only other thing I'd say, I thought that you only had nice things said about you after you died. Yeah. But it seems anyway, it's very nice. Thank you very much.
Nice words. And item 9 then, nomination of Honorary Alderman Sonia Wilson. Sorry, I'll get it right eventually when I become mayor, one day. Who knows? Sonia, it's older woman. It does say there, look, older man. Don't shoot the messenger. Sonia Wilson. So, do we have a proposer? Thank you, Councillor Wilson.
You were put in at quite literally the 11th hour for this evening. Now, I'm delighted to propose Sonia Wilson. I hasten to add that we are no relation, so there is no pecuniary interest, Mr Deputy Mayor. But thinking back, I've known Sonia for almost 20 years, and she was one who was to greatly encourage youth to come into politics at the time and ensure that a wide range of views are represented, no matter what your political hue, but engaging people at every age and at every level. Now, I don't think we can mention Sonia without Tom. And for those of us who remember Tom, I think being the most generous would be that he was a character. But of course, Sonia served as his mayoress during his mayoral year of 2009 to 2010. And they took upon themselves raising money not only just for leukemia, but also for the Chilvers Coat and Heritage Centre. Both causes which I know were very close to both Tom and Sonia's heart at the time, and continue to do so. But Sonia was a councillor in her own right, and I think it's important that we recognise Sonia in her own way too, because she was a councillor for Arbury Ward, later a county councillor for Arbury and Stockingford, and she served as a chair of the licensing committee for 2 years when she was on the authority. Now, political waves come and go, but Sonia's passion for Nuneaton and Bedworth has remained undiminished since she left this authority, and I know that she continues to be involved. Whenever I go pop down the town, I usually bump into Sonia and she asks how things are going, and more importantly, the traders get to know Sonia as well, and she goes around making sure they're okay, and she's been to visit us as well, Mr Deputy Mayor, raising questions on behalf of the town centre. And I think that shows a great passion that remains for Sonia Wilson, even though she has left the political sphere. And that keen interest and dedication to serving her community, I think, deserves to be recognised, Mr Deputy Mayor. So I propose Sonia Wilson for the office of Alderwoman.
Seconder. And that's Councillor Clark.
Deputy Mayor, I'll take my opportunity to speak now, and I'd like to say former councillor and former Madam Mayoress Sonia Wilson is truly deserving of this award. As alluded to, Sonia has the heart of Nuneaton at her heart. She is around the town most days of the week, as a street pastor, supporting people who need help, need assistance. Sonia is out there, whatever the weather, she's still helping today any people who need her assistance. Her heart is as big as anyone's in the borough, I think, because she will embrace anyone and everything who needs some slight help. She's there to lend a hand on any occasion. I did serve with Sonia on the Borough Council too, and Sonia was an excellent ward councillor, as I recall, and it's an honour to second this nomination, Mr Deputy Mayor.
Is there anyone else wish to speak? I can't see anybody, so shall we take it for a vote? All those in favour? Again, that looks unanimous. So, Sonia, I am open to some lessons in being mayor and deputy mayors. I'm quite sure you can teach me a few finer ways of speaking. So please come and sign the book.
I didn't know there was going to be speeches, and I've just gone back. When I was nominated to stand in Arbury Ward, my name was put forward because I wasn't going to win. They just needed a name. But I did win, and I went on a very steep learning curve. And I want to thank everybody from there was three parties then, for the learning curve that I went on. I found it an absolute privilege to serve this town. I found it very humbling. And
Mr. Deputy Mayor, you just have to remember that all the different personalities you're going to meet, they're new at it as well. So there you are. They're all new and you're learning together. Like Bob Hibbs, I'm from a different country. And I came to Nuneaton, and I can honestly say, except for God and my family, I love Nuneaton. And regardless of how it's looking at the moment for people who are visiting, I love Nuneaton and its people. And I feel really honoured. Thank you so much.
And to our next nomination of Honorary Freewoman. I get it right this time. Carol Valentine. And do we have a proposer? Councillor Wilson.
The Free Men and Women nominations of the Borough. And if anyone has ever met our next honoree, Mr. Deputy Mayor, I'm sure they would agree that Carol Valentine is a force of nature. Everyone here will know of the tragic loss of her son, Simon Valentine, while he was serving Queen and Country in Afghanistan in 2009. No one can imagine what losing a child must feel like. But Carol was the driving force behind the campaign that lasted over a decade to honour her son with renaming a road in Bedworth. Last year, that campaign became reality when we finally opened Sergeant Simon Valentine Way, meaning that generations of children to come will know the sacrifice Simon made in the line of duty. Today, of course, we honour Carol for these efforts, but there is so much more to the lady we are creating a free woman of the borough tonight. Carol and her family have been involved in the Poppy Appeal in Bedworth for over 20 years, and more recently involved in the nationally renowned Bedworth Armistice Parade, helping to continue the legacy of the town that never forgets. Many of us will also remember the tragedy of Lee Rigby, another soldier who was killed, but this time at home on our very own shores. Carol was involved with the foundation set up in his name, and she's helped bereaved families across the country. If Carol's story tells us anything, it is a story of duty and service. This duty and service, in my view, Mr. Deputy Mayor, is deserving of recognition by this council, and I commend the nomination of Carol Valentine to be a free woman of the Borough of Nuneaton and Bedworth. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Seconder, Councillor Markham.
I can only echo what Councillor Wilson has just said, but also just recently, Carol was actually was invited to attend London and the launch of the 25 year of the Kosovo exhibition, which is around showing people what peacekeeping is and what nations can actually achieve when they come together. She also is on a helpline for the suicide crisis, and she's just recently been awarded a certificate for over 1,000 hours of service, which is very commendable. So I'm happy to second this. Thank you.
Are there any further speakers? I can't see any, so can we take it to the vote, please? All those in favour? And again, it's unanimous. So, Carol, come and join us at this special occasion and sign your life away. She doesn't wish to speak. Bless, but never mind.
Oh, well, if you need me to.
Yes. Go on then. She's changed mine.
Let's take the photos first.
Have this to start with.
A woman of many years, I think. I'd just like to say thank you very much for all those that nominated me, all the people over the years that have supported me, because I haven't done any of this on my own. We're fortunate in Bedworth to be a town that never forgets, and so I think if you can be fortunate of where your son was born and died, then I was probably very, very lucky. And not also forgetting, I also have another son that's just finished 10 years of service as well for the same regiment. And the military family as well that's been around me, the likes of Murray, that's always been listening here when I wanted to rant and moan and everything else like that. But Sue, as well, since she's been in office, has been absolutely amazing. And lots more people from all parties that have always given our family a lot of support over the years. So I'd like to thank you all for that, and I'm very honoured to receive this.
What a fine family. And the next nomination of Honorary Free Woman, Julie Earnshaw. Do we have a proposer, please? Councillor Brown.
Looking around the room tonight, it seems to me that the people that have been nominated for these awards, they come from a wide range of backgrounds. They've all done vastly different things. It's clear that they've all excelled in some way, whether it be, whatever it is, they're all deserving of their nominations here tonight. Some of them are well known locally. Others, perhaps, their reputation is perhaps national or even more internationally well known than maybe they are even in their own town. Which brings me really nicely to Julie Earnshaw. I'm absolutely honoured to nominate Julie for this award. I've known Julie for more than 30 years, and I think it's fair to say that in the world of ballroom dance, she's a legend. She's a former all-time professional dance champion herself. At the age of 28, she was appointed the youngest ever examiner by the Imperial Society of Teachers of Dance, which is one of the most prestigious dance organisations in the world. As a teacher, she's touched the lives of thousands of local children, from beginner to champion. And in fact, some of the people that she's trained have gone on to become British and world champions. She's judged all of the major dance championships that you can judge, really, including the British Open and the World's Ballroom, which, for anybody who doesn't know, the World's Ballroom is a bit like the Football World Cup, but with more full body contact, more hairspray, and a lot more fake tan. She lectures in ballroom dance around the world, places as diverse as Japan, Hong Kong, Malaysia, all over the world. She was a judge on the original Come Dancing show for 8 years. Now, again, for those who are not old enough to remember, Come Dancing was the original series that Strictly's based on. And I have to say it here, with more knowledgeable judges. But I would say that, wouldn't I, in this company? She's a 2-time winner of the Carl Allen Awards. They're like the Oscars to the ballroom world. And just to put that into context, previous winners include people like Darcy Bussell, Torval and Dean, Bruce Forsyth. Well, there we go. So that just gives some measure of the heights to which she's scaled within her specialist world, really. But she hasn't just done that on the sort of national, international stage. Here in the Borough, she's opened 2 dance studios, purpose-built. One of them was the old Law's Glass Factory that people remember in Bedworth, which she restored back to its glory as a ballroom. And she actually got an award from the Bedworth Society for that achievement. So these venues, though, of course, are popular in themselves, in that They allow people of all ages, from 4 to 84, to enjoy themselves, to keep fit, to have a social activity. And I think it's that she really loves. She's a very social person. But away from the world of dance, she's also a successful businesswoman. She's developed a business that restores and builds houses, and they're usually for rent to people at lower than market rents, and often to people who otherwise wouldn't be able to afford a tenancy anywhere. But she's not sort of an arm's length businesswoman. She's keen to get stuck in. She's just as comfortable with a paintbrush in her hand or behind the controls of a digger as she is standing on the dance floor in a posh ball gown, judging the world's best dancers. Not only that, she's helped with charity work here and abroad, notably with work in providing a water supply to a village in the Gambia. You go on holiday, you see something that needs doing, and you decide to do something about it, which is fantastic. But what always strikes me about Julie is the way she wears all of this so lightly. That she just is an ordinary person. She's very grounded, and she wears that success, as I say, very lightly. She's a fantastic teacher. She has the ability to make complex things simple. I think that is the measure of somebody who can explain something that's complex and pass it across in a simple way. So whatever she does, in my experience, she wants to get it done. She wants to get it done properly, and she wants to get it done well for everybody's benefit. So I wholeheartedly recommend Julie Earnshaw for this award. Thank you.
We have a seconder, Councillor Wilson. Do we have any other speakers? I can't see any, so shall we go to the vote? All those in favour? That looks unanimous again. So, Julie, quick step your way down here and sign this book.
Good evening, and I'd like to start by saying I really feel very privileged to be here this evening and to be the recipient of this most prestigious award is truly amazing. I consider myself a very lucky girl. I've spent the whole of my life doing what I love, and that is changing people's lives by way of dance. Old time and ballroom dancing have taken me literally across the globe. But as the saying goes, there's no place like home. I was born and bred in Bedworth, so I should say Bedworth. And to serve the people of Nuneaton and Bedworth with my knowledge has always been most enjoyable. I would like to sincerely thank the people who have nominated me, the people who have voted for me, and I'd also like to thank the people in my early days who gave me inspiration and also enthusiasm to guide me into this pathway. I'd also and most importantly, like to thank my husband for always standing by me, many, many times having to fend for himself and cook his own dinner whilst I'm away, and always be there to support me. Thank you.
And so, to the next nomination of Honorary Freeman, Gareth Edwards. And do we have a proposer? Councillor Wilson.
I think it's fair to say that there are some residents that believe that what we discuss and debate in this chamber is fantasy. But with our next nominee for Freeman of the Borough, I am genuinely talking fantasy and science fiction with Hollywood film director Gareth Edwards. In what could be the story from a movie itself, a boy from a small mining town in the Midlands had a drive and ambition to become a film director. With hard work, determination, and not a small amount of talent, that boy from Nuneaton is now a Hollywood blockbuster film director, producer, script writer, and visual effects artist, and I'm sure there might be other things to add to that list too. Gareth's films include Godzilla, Star Wars Rogue One, and now The Creator. His films have drawn in hundreds of millions of dollars, and his latest blockbuster, The Creator, has just been nominated in both the Oscar and BAFTA awards. Who would have thought that of a boy from Nuneaton? A boy who, like many other kids in Nuneaton, went to Higham Lane School and then on to North Warwickshire and Hinckley College, as it was then. Gareth worked hard and chased his dream, and he is proof that any boy, or girl, from our borough can chase their dreams too, and they can come true. I think that is an inspirational story, Mr Deputy Mayor, that we as a council should promote and celebrate. Now, I hope I won't offend our honoree by confessing to be more of a Trekkie than a Star Wars fan. But I certainly wouldn't object if he were to dip his toe into directing the other great franchise. If J.J. Abrams can do it, I'm sure that Gareth can too, and probably better still. Mr Deputy Mayor, I think it says something about our honoree that he is with us tonight. When I initially thought about putting Gareth forward for the freedom of our borough, I kind of thought he might accept, but it might be that we had to live stream it in some kind of Hollywood fashion. But no, he emailed me directly and confirmed that this is a once-in-a-lifetime honour from his hometown, and that he would fly back from America especially to get this honour, a place he regularly comes back to and where his mother still lives. And I apologise if the jet lag is kicking in. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to put Gareth Edwards forward for the freedom of Nuneaton and Bedworth Borough, and hope that this council will tonight vote to recognise the boy from Nuneaton done good. Thank you, Mr Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Golby.
I see you've got one of the rebel fighters in the gallery up there, so X-Wing parking free after 6, you're all right. So I'm going to take a little bit of a different tact on this. My portfolio is housing and communities, so I do a lot with the younger generation. And I always find that it's good for them to have role models that they can associate with. And I think in popular culture, you are one of the people that the younger generation can associate with. When you talk about role models, politicians are not always top of the list. So it's really good that we've got other people that I can actually talk about. And just in general, my rule of thumb with role models of any background is if kids can't see it, they won't be it. So it's good that we can honour you tonight, as well as all the other awards that you've had throughout your career. And I'd just like to say thank you for coming back and doing this. We do appreciate it, and you can put it on the wall next to the Oscar when you get one. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Golby. So, do we have any speakers? Nobody wants to speak to you, sorry. Or do we? No. No. So we'll go to the vote. All those in favour, please. Again, it's unanimous. So, if you would like another side, Luke Skywalker, you know, this is my good side. So please transport yourself down here and sign this book.
This is Arthur, actually. I went to college with Arthur at North Warwickshire College. I didn't realise you were going to be here tonight. I feel a complete fraud, to be honest. It's like I just tell stories about made-up heroes, and tonight I'm in a room with real-life heroes, and I find your stories incredibly inspiring, to the point that if they end up in a Hollywood film, I'd like to claim 15% finder's fee. We can negotiate price afterwards, but genuinely, joking aside, this is a genuine, true honour, and thank you to my family who are here and everybody else that voted for this. Thank you.
And the next nomination of Honorary Freeman Martin Bradley. And do we have a proposer, please? Councillor Chekovich.
Deputy Mayor, and it's a real pleasure and honour to be able to stand up and talk about hopefully our next recipient. So I'm going to tell you why I believe Martin Bradley is deserving of being a Freeman of the Borough. So Martin has been a cornerstone to the community of Bulkington. For 2 decades, he's run and operated a small business called The Little Shop. This was the sort of place where you could expect a one-on-one service from an incredibly friendly and helpful shopkeeper who would always go the extra mile to help residents. It was amazing what you could find in The Little Shop, and if you couldn't find it, if you came back in a day or two, then Martin would have found it for you. For many of the elderly in our community in particular, he provided a helpful and friendly service and became a hub for them. He would know his customers by name and would always look out for them and check up on them if he had not seen them for a few days. Martin was a well-respected trader and would always go to great lengths to decorate the little shop for coronations, Christmas light switch-ons, and he was always keen to promote the village of Bulkington and support all the activities that went on in it. Martin's not a man who would like being in the spotlight, which probably explains why so many have never heard of him before. He's been a very generous benefactor, donating time, food and money to many charitable groups over the years, never seeking any sort of reward or promotion for his own business through his good deeds and charitable work. During COVID, Martin really came into his own. He went out of his way to deliver goods and visit many of the elderly and vulnerable who were not allowed to leave the house. He would act as a lifeline to those residents who were isolated. Martin would also find the time to talk to them and help alleviate the sense of loneliness many felt. He also knew everything that was going on in the village, and though some might call it a gossip, I would call it a passing on vital information. It sounds like such a small thing to do, but when we look back, we realise that such actions brought connection to those who were not connected. Martin never profited from COVID as many others in his position did, even turning down, I believe, an offer of £600 for his small stock of toilet rolls. During COVID, he would often work 16-hour-long days, ensuring that many of the elderly and most vulnerable residents were not overlooked or forgotten. Martin also helped run the village's first food bank and went out of his way and would often, out of his own pocket, make very generous and sizable donations himself, helping to ensure that those who had fallen in hard times never went without. Sadly, on the 31st of July 2021, Martin suffered a brain hemorrhage and collapsed and was rushed to hospital, where he spent several months in a coma. He's now having to relearn to do everything again for himself, and the little shop has sadly closed down a few months ago, as his family could no longer keep it running and also care for Martin at the same time. I would like to mention within this story the support that Martin has received from his wife Maureen and daughter Chloe, who have helped him with the business and were supportive of all his community endeavours. It is also down to their love and support that Martin has made such great strides in his recovery. Since the little shop has closed down, Bulkington has become a poorer place, and many of the residents have realised the vital part that Martin played. He worked tirelessly to help and support others, going well beyond being a small business owner. It's only when we look back that we can see the role he played in supporting the community and also the contribution he made. It is for these reasons that I'm nominating Martin for his role to be a Freeman of the Borough. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cekovic. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Smith.
We've just heard from Councillor Cekovic what a selfless, generous and caring person Martin Bradley is. However, in seconding his nomination, I want to talk about the wider effect Martin has had on the community he loves. Bulkington is a village with a great community spirit, and whenever we're faced with a crisis, there are always calls from the community to ask, how can I help? When the pandemic hit, we've heard about the selfless work Martin did to help the most vulnerable in so many ways. However, his actions had a wider impact by making his little shop the central focus point for all of those wanting to help and do their bit by volunteering their time and money. And so Martin was at the very centre of organising a community effort that reached out to anyone in need, delivering food packages, prescriptions, and being a friendly face, supporting those who were isolating. It's fair to say that Martin was the gel that held together the fantastic work by a small army of volunteers. And his legacy lives on today in the food bank that came about as a result of his early activity and which is still supporting people today who are struggling with the cost of living crisis. His business may have been a little shop, but it held the beating heart of the community. And that heart was Martin Bradley, so I consider it an honour to second the nomination and make him a Freeman of this borough.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? I don't see anybody, so shall we take it to the vote? All those in favour? And I see majority. Was that majority? Yes. So, Mr. Bradley, this is not Arkwright's. This is the town hall. So, but please come and sign our little book. Thank you.
Where are we going? Shall we?
It's there, and so your dad can see everyone.
Yeah. Shall we?
Yeah, just
go into place. Told Daddy's gonna Hello. I've always known my dad to do incredibly kind things and never tell anybody about it and always keep it private. And I think when you started getting attention, it was a bit scary, wasn't it? To start with, when you had lots and lots of fans, lots of messages on Facebook and different things, and Dad wasn't really sure how to take it at the time. But I think this is such a lovely honour, and we've had a really crazy couple of years, and I'm incredibly proud of the work you've done, but I'm so proud for how much you've come on in yourself and your determination and just how positive you've been through your recovery. So, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you for such nice words. And the next nomination of Honorary Freeman is Murray Richards. So do I have a proposer, please? Councillor Cekovic.
I'm filling up a little bit after that, as I'm sure many of us are. Right, so moving on to Murray. So it is my privilege and honour to nominate Murray for this award as Freeman of the Borough. So after 18 years of regular army service and a number of years in the Reserve Army as a warrant officer, Murray immediately joined his regimental association in Nuneaton. This soon extended into joining the council committee that organises military events in the borough of Nuneaton and Bedworth, such as the Poppy Appeal launch, the Armed Forces Day, Armistice Day in Bedworth, and the Remembrance Sunday. Murray quickly became the parade marshal for all military events across the borough, and he's recognised that it's important to support our veterans in need in the community and remember those fallen in action. Murray spends many hours with various Nuneaton and Bedworth council departments providing advice on all matters military. Murray took full control of the annual Normandy Day event in Nuneaton, and his precise planning and organisation has resulted in the fact that today this is a day that's now firmly set on the council's calendar. Murray has always worked alongside, Murray's also worked alongside Carol Valentine, who's another recipient that we've heard so much about earlier on this evening, in making sure that our sons have been honoured, those who have fallen in battle, and to ensure that their names live on in the memories of us as residents. This has taken many hours of work over many years, and is work which he continues to support for other service personnel's families. Amazingly, he finds time to support the families of soldiers who need help organising funerals and sometimes the finance for funerals. This will include drawing together those that have been deceased and have served, ensuring that the associated standards are present, which is always appreciated by families. He is the president of the Nuneaton branch of the Royal Regiment of Fusiliers Association and the only non-commissioned officer who is a trustee of the County Association Trust Fund, to which he brings sound advice. So, Murray, I do not hesitate in proposing you the fact that I've known you for 20 years and he was my company sergeant major. I think I need to declare that. I can't think of a more deserving fellow. So thank you, Murray, for what you've done for the borough.
And do we have a seconder? Councillor Wilson.
Only two people I've known who can actually get a group of councillors to actually do what they're told. One was the late, great Jesse Owen, and the other is his successor, Murray Richards. Now, Murray has been seen by quite possibly thousands of people across the borough, both nationally and internationally, because we have, of course, the town that never forgets. But actually, we are the borough that never forgets, because Nuneaton and Bedworth have a proud and long tradition of remembering our armed forces. And Murray is right at the very heart of that. I can guarantee every Remembrance Sunday and every Armistice Day in Bedworth, Murray will be there leading the pack, making sure we're all doing as we're told, we're in the right place, roughly, and then ensuring that we do the job that we are ultimately there for, which is paying our honoured respects to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom and security. And he does it quietly and unassumingly, and long may it continue, Mr. Deputy Mayor, because I think it's so important that we continue that tradition so that future generations of children will understand the sacrifices which have been made, because I think all of us who have been to the remembrance parades and armistice parades will sadly see the number of veterans who were there to tell their stories are sadly no longer with us with the passage of time. But it's vital that we keep those stories alive for the future, because for those of us who forget our history, we are doomed to repeat it, and Murray is one of those who ensures that we do not repeat those mistakes of the past. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Is there anyone else wish to speak? I don't see anyone, so shall we take it to the vote? All those in favour? That looks unanimous again. So, Mr. Richards, by the left, quick march to the front, sign yourself for 10 years.
I'd just like to say thank you, everyone, particularly to Lubbs that, despite my abuse of him in earlier years, did put me forward. I had the great honour of taking over from Jesse, and I hope that I've kept up his high standards. But it can't happen. People recognise me because I'm the one with the stick that shouts at everyone. But it can't happen without the council officers and all the other people that do all the hard work behind. And most people think these things just happen. But I can tell you that we've already had our first Armistice Committee meeting for the next parade. And we're already booking road closures and all the other things that go on. But the one person I should thank the most is my wife, who every week, at least once, says to me, "I thought you were retired." Thank you.
And now it brings us on to the nomination of Honorary Freeman Paul Goff. So do we have a proposer, please? Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Those of you who are in the chamber might actually notice that there is a man wearing a funny costume at the moment. And he is actually Paul Goff, our town crier, who occupies a post which goes back hundreds and hundreds of years, and I'm sure he will be able to tell anyone who is interested afterwards about the origins of the ancient office that he holds. But he is quite often the face that little kids remember every Christmas. I won't even try to do the OEAs that he does, because Paul can do them in his own inimitable way. And there are a number of ex-mayors in the chamber tonight who will have had the privilege over the past 36 years, Mr. Deputy Mayor, that Paul has been our town crier, supporting at every major civic event that he possibly can. Christmas being the big one that everyone gets to see, riling up the audience, you know, getting them ready for the light switch on and the big countdown, and do we start from 12, 15, go to 10? It's his own little bit of way of having fun with the kids, but the kids lap it up, Mr. Deputy Mayor, and you will get to see that hopefully in your own coming year. But also there is a serious side to what Paul does. He has been there during the Jubilee celebrations for Her late Majesty the Queen, at the Golden Jubilee and the Platinum Jubilee, sadly at the demise of Her late Majesty, having to announce the accession of His Majesty the King, and then also the coronation. And he always has a little ditty available ready to celebrate these milestones. But he has also represented us, Mr. Deputy Mayor, on the international stage in numerous town crier events, and I believe you were once the Commonwealth champion. Is that not correct? So again, a little town from the Midlands goes international, Mr. Deputy Mayor. And 36 years is a lot of service in anyone's book, and yet he still continues to do it. He loves the job he does. I don't know whether he's got his bell with him, but we can save that for later. When I'm sure he can announce the little soiree open later in his own style. But I think, Mr. Deputy Mayor, he truly does deserve to be recognised the borough he has so proudly served for this past 36 years. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. And do we have a seconder?
Oh yay! Oh yay! Oh yay!
You beat me to that one.
Sorry, I've been looking forward to doing that all evening. Yeah, so I'm delighted to be able to second this nomination for Paul Gough as the borough's town crier. He's helped to mark literally everything that's ever happened in the last 36 years, now into his 37th year. And I think, if we think back, he's going until 1987 is when you sort of roughly started. I mean, that's a tremendous amount of local history in that time. And it's not only just, as Councillor Wilson said and alluded to, he's not only just a town crier, but arguably he's the nation's best town crier, having won numerous awards and titles over his long and distinguished career, which also goes probably a long way to putting this borough on the map as well. Paul, in his role as town crier, has always attended the carnivals, the Christmas light switch-on events, the jubilees, and even a coronation. And he is without doubt someone who gets the crowd on his side by building an atmosphere. I never know where he's going to start the countdown every year. I mean, we should run a book on it. And Paul, if you could let me know the numbers, I'd really appreciate that, so I could get the bet down on the right one. But it's just a joy and a privilege to watch him every single year turn up to see the look on the children in particular, on their faces, as he gets them on side, as he builds the atmosphere and he gets the crowd sort of whipped up into a sort of a bit of a frenzy. So Paul, I'm delighted to sort of see you being on tonight, and I wholeheartedly second your nomination for this award, which I think is richly deserved. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Djokovic. Is there anyone else that would wish to speak? Again, I don't see anybody, so shall we take it to the vote? All those in favour, please. Again, unanimous. Without there being an echo in the room, let it be said that on this day you did sign the book. You don't want to speak, do you?
I don't know. I'm very shy, Mr. Deputy. I'm very shy. You know that. Right.
Just sign there, Paul.
I will. Thank you. I think it's Mr. Deputy Mayor.
No, you do.
I wouldn't know. Need it for the photos, don't you?
We'll get the pretty ones on.
Thank you. Strangely enough, I didn't actually prepare a cry for this evening because like many of the others, I didn't realise you were possibly going to be doing a thank you speech. After all, it's not the Oscars. It's much more important than that. So I haven't actually prepared anything, but I will say this. Like one or two of the other people who have been receiving awards this evening, I'm not a native of Nuneaton and Bedworth either. I'm a blow-in. I'm from Manchester. Yeah.
I'll put this back then, shall I?
Yeah, you may as well. Yeah. Red, in case you ask. And I grew up in a very rough area of Manchester, and I worked hard and got an education and left, and only ever returned as a visitor. But it was this borough that enabled me to achieve my dream. So the motto of this borough, which I will say initially in French, prêt d'accomplir, but also united to achieve, this borough was ready to help me achieve my ambition at that time. Like I said, I grew up in a very rough area of Manchester, and it was my dream to be able to purchase a house for my family with an indoor toilet. I'm seeing that's making a hit somewhere. So I thank the borough for allowing me to accomplish what I wish to accomplish, to have that achievement. And I thank the borough for giving me the opportunity to proselytise, to promote, and to tell everybody in the world about the joys of Nuneaton and Bedworth and George Eliot and all the roundabouts and all the other fun things for which we are justly famous. And it really has been a joy, and I thank you all so much, and thank you for the nomination. I am absolutely overwhelmed. Bless your hearts, all of you.
And on to our next nomination of Honorary Freeman, Mr. Frank Parker. And do we have a proposer? Councillor Clark.
It's my honour to stand up to propose tonight Mr. Frank Parker. The business that he now runs, that his great-grandfather, I think, started back in 1896, over a century of service to this borough, and particularly to Abbey Green. Anybody who knows Nuneaton or Bedworth knows Frank Parker's. He's nationally renowned. His sausages have won awards. His pies have won awards. His latest invention, I think, it's coming on with another sausage that's being introduced, which I think is going to be goat. Is that right? So it'll be interesting to see what that one brings. I'm sure, again, it will hit the mark with the locals' delicacies and their tempt their palates. Frank, as I say, who his grandfather started the business, but it has to be recognised that this business has been going for 124 years coming up. The amount of people that have been both employed and gone through that business and have learned to trade has to be recognised and marked in some way. And I think the nomination for Frank Parker this evening, the great grandson of a freeman of the borough, for keeping this business going. I was a contemporary with Frank back in the 60s when I was growing up. I had a little shop with my father opposite Frank's business, and every day there were people going in and out of that doorway, never stopped, never endless streams, and that continues to this day, Mr. Mayor. It's an advocate for our borough, the trade that he does, the business that he brings to this town and the borough, and I fully support and recommend for Mr. Frank Parker the recognition of an honorary freeman of this borough. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. And do we have a seconder? Councillor Markham.
Just following on, really, A local family butchers, as we all know, that has won many awards for the quality and taste of the produce that they make and sell. Customers come from all over the borough and surrounding area to shop at Parker's, such is the reputation that it has. One of the only butchers I know where customers queue round the block at Christmas with a queue starting before 6 o'clock. And I know that because I've been in it. A true example of what a modern butcher's should be today, family run, friendly and adaptable to the times. So I'm happy to second this nomination.
Thank you, Councillor Markham. So, are there anyone else would like to speak? Yes, Councillor Guttridge.
I fully support this. I'd just like to say a few words about Mr. Parker. I shop there, so I better declare an interest. He's worked 71 years at Christmas. He'd done 71 years, and he's in the shop most days, usually from 6 till lunchtime, and I fully recommend this ornament. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Guttridge. So, if there's no one else wishes to speak, shall we take it to the vote? All those in favour? Unanimous. So, Mr. Frank Parker, £4 of sausages, 2 8-ounce sirloins and a pork pie, please. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. Please come and sign the book.
Mr. Deputy Mayor, councillors, ladies and gentlemen, I was born in Abbey Green when the bombs were dropping. I was born under the table with the windows blown out. I work at Abbey Green every day, and I'm that proud of Nuneaton. I've been proud of Nuneaton all my life. I can be an ambassador to Nuneaton because everywhere time I go on holiday, I said, I live in the best town in the world. And it is. And to me, I'm sorry about Bedworth, but I love Bedworth as well. But I was born in Abbey Green. I would like to say something. As an ordinary man, not enough praise is given to you councillors for all the work you do. It's brilliant, and it's kept this town going for many years. No matter what party you are, you all give the service to the town. And I'm very grateful to be honoured tonight with all these wonderful people that have done wonderful things. And thank you all for this brilliant honour. My mum and dad, if they're listening, they'll be very proud. Thank you very much. Just one thing. I thought I might have been voted down if somebody had had a stuffed steak.
And on to the nomination of Honorary Freewoman Abida Faraji. Is a proposer, please? Yes, it's Councillor Shepherd. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
I'm delighted to nominate Mrs Abida Sullivan-Varaji to be a Free Woman of the Borough. Abida is a recipient of an MBE gained for her work with interfaith and integration services for the community, and she was given it in the late Queen's Honours in 2022. Abida has served as chair of the local Ethnic Minority Advisory Council, LEMAC, involved in initiatives with the police and young people, a school governor, director of a community centre, a school chaperone supporting young people, and has just returned from volunteering in Jordan. Abida continues to support the community any way she can, always with the support of her family, and I ask Council to support this nomination. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Shepherd. And do we have a seconder?
Thank you, Mr Deputy Mayor. I have great in all 20-odd years within the community, and like everyone else here today, giving service to the people of Nuneaton. So I can only endorse what Councillor Shepherd has said and second the nomination, Mr Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Is there anyone else which would like to speak? Councillor Tromans.
As this is the last nomination of the evening, I thought it was right to stand and just say a very few words about how we have got here tonight. It's worth remembering that these honours weren't being used previously, but I think councillors from across the chamber realised that it was the right thing to do to recognise those people that do good works in our borough and wider. At the time that this council was elected, we were still dealing with COVID, and we were seeing some magnificent work being done by people in our community at the time. Fantastic support for others. We've heard of some of that tonight. But we also knew that for so many years there had been people that weren't being recognised for the phenomenal contributions that they were making to our borough's reputation, and out there in the wider world. So much that they were bringing to people. And so during the time I was mayor, with the leaders and the cabinet and the support of everybody, we started and brought back the honours. We introduced freemen and honorary aldermen, as other boroughs had done so successfully before. And I am so pleased that tonight we've had an opportunity to recognise fantastic people. This is a great borough, and if we ever had any doubts of that, we have the living proof here tonight of what a great borough this is and what great people we have in it. So I'm sure I can say on behalf of all of the councillors here, thank you to all of the nominees tonight. We are so grateful for all that you have done. It's a real privilege to be able to honour you in this way. Thank you, Mr Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Tromans. If there's no one else that would wish to speak, shall we take it to the vote? All those in favour, please. That's unanimous. And Abida, I have no words, because what you do, I can't beat an MBE. I'm just a deputy mayor. Please come and sign. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Mayor, and the officers, and the councillors, and the county councillors. I came to Nuneaton as a 16-year-old bride, married to a handsome gentleman there. it was my ambition, always has been my ambition to serve the community. Even as a young person, my father recognized that what I had in me, and he always encouraged me. And the only thing I feel as though that he's not here to see the moment that, you know, I'm going through with the MBE and all that, but he's looking down on me. And my late mother only passed away a year ago. So this is all on, you know, with their blessings and everything. But serving my community is something that I just feel as though I have to do something to set an example for our youth. The youth we've touched upon, we need to bring them forward now. And we need to say that, look, this is happening, you need to be part of it, and you need to take it forward. We're not going to be here for very long, you know, so someone has to lead the reins. So that's what we need to do now, work on our youngsters, and I hope that we take it forward from here. Thank you all very much. Thank you to my family, and to my friends, and to my community, the Nuneaton community, where I've been here for 50 years. Thank you.
And so, although I have jested throughout, put a little twist, my own twist on, it is wonderful that these nominations to these people that do the borough proud, as Mr. Tromans has said. So, thank you all for coming. Hopefully you may see me again at some stage. And at this time then, I would like to bring the meeting to a close. Thank you.